Hi, Anthony Padone here for completeSql. I'd like to talk about, let's talk about index usage stats, a DMO that tracks the usage on indexes of various tables. There's actually a trilogy of DMOs out there concerned with indexes. And index usage stats is one. There's index physical stats, which is another. And index operational stats, of course, is another. And each one is similar but quite different in their approach and concentration and detail about what we're studying. But today we're going to concentrate just on the index usage stats, which actually tracks the seeks, the scans, the lookups, and the updates or modifications to the indexes on the tables within our environment. Through the use of completeSql, I set up three different instances. This first one is an alter index, and when you rebuild the index, it wipes out the metrics or wipes out the metadata that the index usage stats is carrying. So we can wipe out things fresh. This one here is the actual usage stats DMO that'll give a display of usage upon our indexes and tables. And this will actually execute queries so we can track counts and track the usage stats, how it's counting all the seeks and scans and so forth. So the first thing we'll do is run the alter index, and it'll rebuild all the indexes on things that we're studying today, just to make it fresh and wipe things out. So click that. Behind the scenes, it's creating some alter tables, rebuilds, and so forth, and wipe them out. We'll go to usage stats, and will display the columns of usage stats DMO. What we'll do is concentrate on certain columns. I don't want to see everything here, so we'll concentrate on object name. We'll concentrate on index name, seeks, as I mentioned, scans, lookups, and what else? And we'll do updates also. And that's enough for now. So we'll include those, and we'll just limit that for the display. Okay, so we'll go into Scratchpad, and I wrote some queries here that I want to execute. So we're going to perform some tests on index scan, clustered index scan. We're going to look at seeks, and as far as the seeks, we'll look at the clustered index seek, and we'll look at a non-clustered index seek. So scans, seeks, two different types. Key lookups. A key lookup is where you're doing a search upon a non-clustered index, a seek into the non-clustered index, and certain columns are needed from the primary key or clustered index because they're not in the included non-clustered. So it seeks back to the primary key, clustered index, and pulls out the information that you need. And updates actually tracks the modification of columns that are spread out within different indexes upon that table. So the first thing we'll do is a clustered index scan, and this is upon the department table. So we'll just copy that, close that out, and we'll go into here, change the query, and we'll do a scan. So we'll execute that, and we'll do it right now. Execute the query, and we'll go back to usage stats. We'll execute that also, and we'll see if any results that came back, and they did. As you mentioned, we're going against the department table and against the primary key, which is the clustered and which is also the table, and we have one scan. So the usage stats track the fact that the department, which was the object name, had usage upon it, which was a scan, a clustered index scan at this point. And we can actually do that again to just demonstrate how it changes. So we'll go back to here. We'll execute it again, minimize it, bring up usage. Here it's 1. We'll execute the usage stats again, and it should be 2. And I'll have to sort that again, I'm sorry. And it is 2. So what we'll do now is just bring it up to object name. Could be anything too, we'll just put descending. And so there it is, scans 2. Okay, so we've shown that usage stats has, first of all, tracked the scans upon the objects out there. Next, we're going to go Scratchpad and pull up a seek. So we're going to take that, and we're going to seek upon employee table. So we'll copy that, minimize that, and execute the query. So we'll change the query. And this time we'll do a seek upon employee. Execute the query. I saw it changed. Okay. Go back to usage, and we'll execute it and see what comes up with. And now we have the employee, and we have the seek against that. So also what I'll put in here is that the object name is not equal to spaces, so it's cleaner. And we'll do that now, and there it is. So we have a seek against the employee, which is tracked by usage stats, and we have a scan, 2 scans against the department, which is tracked by usage stats. So a very useful tool. Next thing we'll do is go back to Scratchpad and execute another seek, and this is across address. So we'll just copy that. And we'll bring up the screen to execute the query. And this time, we're going to go against address table. And we'll execute that as we did. And we'll go back to usage. Execute it again. And there's address. Address came back. The object name was address. There's the index. And we did a seek against that. So what we can do is just concentrate on that a little bit. So we'll look at address. So we have 1 seek, no scans, no lookups, and no updates. So if we go back to the screen here, execute it again. We'll go into usage. We have 1, and we have 2. So the usage stats is recording all the counts of the usage against the indexes and tables within our system. Okay, let's bring all these guys back if we can. Go back to Scratchpad, and we want to do a key lookup. Key lookup, again, as we mentioned, is from the non-clustered looking up into the clustered for information that's lacking within the non-clustered index. So we'll copy that, and we'll go back to our screen to execute the query. Put it in there. So now we're going against the address table. Okay, and I'll execute it. Okay, let's look at usage. We already have address listed. Okay, execute it again, and address again is brought back in. And as you can see, we'll just concentrate on address this time. Let me bring it up again. So address has 3 seeks against the non-clustered index and 1 lookup against the primary key. As we mentioned, if information is lacking from the non-clustered index, we have to seek back into the clustered index to get the information that's needed. So we have, as you see, 3 seeks and 1 lookup, and we can execute it again. So we'll just execute that again. Execute it. Go back to usage. As you can see, we have 3 and 1. Execute it. And now we have 4 and 2. So again, we just demonstrated that the lookups are being captured, and as you can see here, the seeks are being captured, and in a prior one, which I'll bring back right now, the scans have been captured. We'll go back in Scratchpad and do our final one, which is updates. This update could be a little confusing. It's really the modifications to the index, so at maintenance time. So obviously, we're updating a table, a column in a table, and if that particular column belongs to related indexes upon that table, those indexes have to be updated, right? Those columns within the indexes have to be updated, so we'll demonstrate that. So this is against the work order. So just copy that, as we did before. We'll go back to the screen and I'll execute our query. Okay, here we are. Wipe that out, put that in. So we're going against the work order table, and we're trying to demonstrate modifications. So execute that, no, no, and yes, we'll execute it. Done. Okay. If I go back to usage and I'll execute manual refresh, work order is what we're concentrating on, so I'll just put that in here so it keeps things cleaner for us. And there it is. So there's a work order, and the work order, there was actually modifications or activity against the primary key, and which is the clustered, and the non-clustered. So the column belonged to the primary key, which is the table. It had to be updated, but also that column belonged to a related non-clustered index, had to be updated. So we see the user updates and user updates, and we'll do it again. So I'll go back to here, I'll go to the screen, execute it, minimize that, bring up usage. So the prior was 1, 1, and 1, execute it, and now the current is 2, 2, and 2. So what I can do here is bring out all that, and we'll show all the things that we did today. Okay, so we demonstrated that index usage stats records and describes the high-level activity against the indexes. Okay, so we did seeks, we tracked seeks as far as primary key seeks as far as non-clustered seeks. We did scans against the primary. We're just dealing with cluster tables now. So we just did a scan against primary keys, primary tables, clustered indexes. We did lookups. So the non-clustered has to look back into the primary key to get information, and we recorded updates. So if the columns belong to non-clustered indexes, obviously we have to first update the clustered index and then the non-clustered index. So that was a demonstration of index usage stats, part of the trilogy of index usage stats, index physical stats, index operational stats. I hope that was useful, and obviously through the use of completeSql, we demonstrated this wonderful DMO, and our future ones will talk about the physical stats, and our future ones will talk about operational stats. Thank you very much, and have a very good day. Thanks a lot.